Welcome to day 3 of the 31 Days of Mudras. My name is Sujit Sukumaran and pleasure to have you back in this series once again. I hope the last video was insightful for all of you in terms of what this science means and how to practice it, how not to practice it, who can practice it and who cannot practice it. When I concluded the last video, I had said that the foundation bedrock of the science of mudras is your hand, and that the 5 fingers of the hand contain 5 very important elements. A proper understanding of these 5 elements and what they entail in the practice of mudras will be the contents of the video for today. Now, you need to understand that everyone who has 5 fingers, they have 5 elements at the tip of their fingers, and one of the very thoughtful, insightful questions that I have come across when teaching classes is that, sir, what happens if somebody's fingers are amputated or somebody does not have a palm itself and they have an artificial hand? Then what do they do? Does that mean that mudras are useless for them? Simple answer is not wanting to joke about it. It's a very serious, insightful question. Is that if a particular area, a phalange of a finger pertaining to that particular element is cut, as long as the nerves and the endings and the impulses pertaining to that tip is intact, or at least if the person can feel some sensation pertaining to that particular finger, then the element impulse for that particular mudra of the element of the particular finger is intact, and there will be no loss of benefit accruable from practicing that mudra. However, even if the thumb or the index finger or the middle finger, ring finger or the little finger are intact, but if somebody has gone through paralysis, or somebody like me having cerebral palsy and has a dorsal rhizotomy surgery done, if those nerves are not present there, or they have been sliced off, the endings have been treated in a particular way that the charges are not going any more through that neural pathway, then the effect will be limited. It does not mean that there is no effect, because we have to understand that the application of mudras is in the gesture, and the internal implementation of it or the effect of it sometimes might take longer for some people than otherwise. Think of it like kindling a fire with 2 rocks, or trying to light a match on the side of a matchbox. Sometimes you have to strike multiple times until the circuit gets warmed up and you see tangible, measurable changes. So if we come to the 5 elements in everyone's hands, the 5 fingers, the first is the thumb. The thumb is called the mother of all the 4 fingers. You have 1 mother and 4 children, and the thumb is historically an extremely important element or constituent part of every mudra. There is no mudra likely where there is no presence of a thumb. In the entire pantheon of literature available, most of the mudras, if not all the mudras, use the element of the thumb. Now, what is the element in the thumb? Thumb is the element of fire. Thumb is the element of fire. It's called Agni. Then what is the next one? The next one is the index finger. The index finger is the element of air or Vayu, not to be confused with space or Akasha. That comes later. This is air or Vayu, the index finger. So the thumb finger is Agni. The index finger is air or Vayu. The index finger is air or Vayu. The middle finger is Akasha or space. The middle finger is Akasha or space. I don't want to commit obscenities on camera. I know what you're thinking, whether there is a mudra which shows the middle finger. It doesn't show it in the way that you probably would think about. There is a mudra for that. It's called the Akasha mudra, but it's not exactly like how you're thinking. But to answer your question, the middle finger is the finger of the element of space. So recap, you have fire, you have air, you have space. What is the 4th element? The 4th element is the one of the ring finger. This one, the ring finger on either hand. That is called the element of earth or prithvi. Earth or prithvi. And the last one, this is very, very interesting. The last one, the pinky finger or the little finger, is the element of Jala or water. Jala or water. Jala in Sanskrit, water in English. So anything to do with water and its impulses are controlled by the little finger. An anecdote of note is, if you're from India or from the Asian subcontinent, I do not know whether it's practiced in countries outside India, but when we were small and in KG, first standard, second standard, when we needed to use the washroom, we go and say, ma'am, can I use the washroom? I want to go to the toilet. This is the mudra you use. And when you do this, everyone remembers it's number one, please give me permission to go to the bathroom, and you used to get leave of absence from the class. But it's not surprising that this finger is called the Jala or the water finger, because anything to do with the expulsion of water, retention of water, is governed by this finger. So to take you through a recap of the 5 elements, if you know these 5 elements by heart, all the mudras which come later on are a combination of 1 or 2 or 3 or all 4 or 5 fingers which are available in your hand, and they form mixtures to actually give you indications of mudras for conditions. To recap, Agni or fire, which is the thumb. Then you have Vayu or air, which is the index finger. Akasha or space, which is the middle finger. Prithvi or earth, which is the ring finger. And Jala or water, which is the little finger. Now, having known the 5 elements, now you will think, okay, so what are the mudras that I can practice? One of the simplest mudras we do every day without knowing that even that it's a mudra is the mudra of salutation. Now even more relevant due to the coronavirus and COVID, because nobody is shaking hands because contact can spread disease, is the mudra of the namaste, or the Indian salutation of saying hi, greetings, fellow human being or fellow person. Now this here, if you see, is a mudra which brings both the palms together, and you are superimposing or bringing together each of the correct fingers on each other of the left and right hand respectively. Now, one thing is, by doing namaste on a regular basis, it harmonizes the left brain and the right brain impulses, number 1. Number 2, it brings to an equilibrium all the imbalances between the 5 elements in your body. But one thing you need to note is that your namaste needs to be as symmetrical as possible to your hand size. How you should connect it is, look carefully at each of your fingers. At the tip of your fingers, you will find a teardrop kind of formation, as if water is going to fall off, a fleshy part. Each of these fleshy parts must connect with the fleshy parts of the other fingers like this, and you bring it together and bring the fingers together along with the palms also joined, and keep this either at your chest level or neck level. You can do this. Unless you are greeting someone, you can practice it on a daily basis. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and keep it at the center of the ribs. This is called the namaskara mudra. There are also various permutation combinations, variations of these, which can actually have a variety of effects on you. So to recap once again, day 2, we learnt about the 5 elements in the hand and the criticality of each of them, and the day-to-day, everyday used mudra, which is the namaskara mudra. If you do this on a daily basis, it will ensure that all of your elements are in harmony, and most of the conditions, whether mental or physical or otherwise, are formed when there is an imbalance of any of the humors or elements in the body. So wishing you all a state of equilibrium, happiness and health. I will sign off with the same mudra that we actually talked about in the video, which is the namaskara mudra. Bring all the 5 elements together of fire. What is the first element? Again, to recap, fire. Then you have, which is this one, Vayu, or then you have the next element of space, Akasha. Then you have Prithvi or earth, and then you have Jala or water. And you bring all these 5 elements together. So a daily practice of the namaskara mudra or the namaste will ensure that all your humors or elements are in equilibrium. So ensure that you do that, whether you are saluting somebody else or not. If you feel awkward sitting in a room and doing it yourself, face a mirror and do it. And I am sure that on a regular basis, if you practice the same, you will not find any kind of mismatch or imbalance of your humors. Therefore, on the long run, leading to a healthier you and a newer you with an absence of disease over the long run. And plus, if you're not shaking hands with anyone, the chances of catching any illness or disease otherwise through handshakes are very minimal. So keep your hands to yourself, practice healthy practices, and there could not be a more relevant mudra during these times. So wishing you all again, once again, the best of health and prosperity. I'll sign off in this video by doing the same mudra that we learnt about, which is the namaskara mudra. Extremely simple. Just need your two hands, bring them together, make sure you join the teardrop areas and keep the palms pressed towards each other. Position which can be assumed is at the center of your chest. Breathe normally. If you want, breathe as slowly as you can. Let the lungs fill up and feel a sense of peace and calm coming over you. So practice the namaskara mudra. Remember the 5 elements from Agni to Jala, and this will form the basis of your learnings of the future mudras. Wishing you all once again best of health and prosperity. This is Sujit Sukumaran signing off.